Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I am trying out something a little new to me that I almost somewhat picked up on accident, but wow, this is fun. So I have not seen these before. These are this one is the Crafter's Companion, the decoupage pad. Now, at first I was like, oh, that's cute. There's little images that you can pull out. Yeah, they'll be nice. They're ready-made images, good to go. But this is 36 pages. Now, these are single-sided for a reason, and they have numbers on them. And so, if you look, you actually are going to, there is a 1, 2, a 3, a 4 for each image. So, obviously, there's 8 on here. And every single page in the pad is the same, which means endless opportunities for fun. I'm going to show you 3 different cards today that you can make just using these. But what you do is you pop these out. They come out really, really easy. It's really obvious which ones go together. You just a 1, 2, a 3, and a 4, and they are absolutely amazing. These are building images. You are going to create layered images. Now this here, I've got some tips for you because you know that we like to be, handy with the items that we choose to invest in. So this is the 1mm thick scrapbook.com foam tape. Now I want to show you some handy tips because this is good. Now they actually do have, they have a 1mm, a 2mm, a 3mm. They have all the things that you could possibly need, but some of us don't have space for all of those wonderful things. So there is a couple of tips I will show you, but first of all, let's just show you how to put these together. Now, of course, I'm using foam tape, but you can use foam dots, foam squares, kids fun foam. You can use layers of cardstock if that's what you wish. I am just adding a little bit of fun foam, and then you literally just place the image on top of the other. Now, each image is essentially going to get smaller because you are creating this built up, almost 3D image. And then look from the side. This is a beautiful layered image, and then look at the side here. This is absolutely stunning when you turn it over and you're like, yes, look at all those beautiful layers. But that is with 1mm foam tape, and I want to show you something. So I'm going to get out another sheet. This is endless. I love the, for my mindset, for my hoarding mindset, this makes me feel like I can use lots of these without the fear of running out. Most of the time when you get sticker sheets or sheets of things, and they only give you sort of 1, if not 2 of the item, and you're like, I don't want to use them. Well, this is for you. Now, here is the fun thing. Double this foam tape up, and we have our 2mm foam tape just like that. And I just showed you how I sort of I hold it between my fingers, and it goes together exactly, perfectly, super simple, super fast. It means I only have to store 1 type of foam tape instead of having to store multiples. And that's just a me thing because I don't have a whole lot of space. But I want to show you the difference between the 1mm foam and the 2mm, because you might be thinking it doesn't make that much difference, but look at this beautiful dimension. This is stunning. I love the 2mm for this one. Usually I'm not a huge big bulk fan, but this is stunning. So this is how I do it. I hold the 2 ends together and then I glide them through my fingers. This one here is the other design that is in that paper pad. So remember how I said there's 8 images there, so they make 2 separate designs. This one here is slightly smaller, which I love as well. They are both beautiful. I love these colors, and I really love the 2mm thick. Now, I will say, obviously these create bulky cards, right? You just have to keep that in mind. Obviously, dimensional things are dimensional for a reason. They're beautiful, and if you want flat cards, then I will show you a card for you in just a minute, because we can obviously use these stunning images just by themselves too without any of the layering. But anyhow, right, let's get to this. Is the honeybee. I think it's called maybe Vintage Labels or something like that. As per usual, I will have everything linked down below, so if I mention a product and I'm not sure of the name, it'll be down there and you can check it out. This was a spear silver one that I had in the back, and the white one. These are spears that I always store in the back of my packaging, but even this idea right here, 2 little florals and then a sentiment there in the center, that looks stunning to me. I love that silver, the white, the flowers. I mean, I almost almost went off on a little tangent and just created this as a card. I was very close to doing that, but I'm going to stick with my original plan because I do have the Floral Elegance pad. Now this one, you know, I've been using this to death because I absolutely love this. I've been really enjoying these pearlescent pages. I'm going to use that biggest die because it is beautiful, but I'm actually going to almost use the reverse of it a little bit. I'm going to cut off that outside frame, keep all those little corners that popped out there. It pops out of the frame absolutely beautifully. These are very, very nice dies. I have lots of videos showing this. I think this is still available for purchase. I'm sure it will be somewhere. As I said, I will link it down below if I can find some links to it. It's old, but not super old, so it should be there. Then anyhow, you can see how the corners all fit in, and I'm actually just going to sort of take away that frame. Then the card base underneath is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, so that is going to provide that gorgeous white. Now actually, if I'd popped this up on foam tape, I think this would have been beautiful too, to give it some dimension between the white background and the you know, it's a sort of peachy kind of colour, apricot-y sort of colour, but I was using the flowers, so that's pretty much my dimension. I don't want to have too much. So then I'm just using my liquid glue, the matte medium, the Ranger multi-medium, and the matte finish. That's what's inside this glue bottle, and I'm going to pop that all down nice and flat. Now this is a really simple card put together. I had a couple of little, these were the spare ones that you saw in the corner before. These were already pre-cut that I had stored in the back of the packaging as well. And so this is what I have talked about, that I always store my extra die cuts in the back of my packaging because I'm much more likely to look there than I am to go and look in my scraps pile or dig into a drawer or anything to see if I've got extras. So if they're in the back of the packaging and I've got them, then we're good to go. Now I am going to do a really quick little bit of foiling here. I have some tacky, dries tacky glue. So this happens to be the Smart Glue from scrapbook.com, and then a big lump just came out. So I'm spreading this with my fingers. If you don't want, you know, if you want perfection, flat and beautiful, then spread it with like a makeup sponge or something like that. This is not going to be flat and stunning, and you know, you'll not be able to see any texture. I've used my fingers, but I'm happy with that because it's only going to be a little border for me rather than the whole thing. Now I have this Vibrant Sentiments stamp set here. I'm going to take the little sentiment that says peace, prayers and blessings. I could have cut this apart by all means. I'm actually just going to do a little bit of masking. I've got some mint tape there just to cover up the bits that I don't want to get at this time. Peace, and then on the next line we'll say prayers, and then on the bottom line I will just stamp the little blessing. So you don't always have to cut your stamps apart. You can do a little bit of selective inking, which will give you pretty much the same part there. Now once this is all nice and dried, this tacky glue sets up really fast. Some of them you absolutely do have to wait 10 minutes or so. This one truly, I mean, and I did a pretty thick layer, you know, less than a minute, 2 minutes, and it was dry for sure. So this is the rose gold. I just picked rose gold. I think that goes nicely with the peachy color of the background that we've got. Adding on some of these beautiful florals on either side. If you wanted to, you could add some little dots, some little gem drops, some little diamantes or something like that around the edge. But I'm pretty happy with this. It's got that shiny, beautiful feature to it. The flowers are stunning, and you can't help but kind of move them around to see all of that beautiful dimension. So we are going to put this card quickly to the side and move on to the next one. This one is like a 3-minute card. Once I had everything put together, this is the Cozy Wreath. Now again, these were just extras that I spotted, and all I want is the circle, so you don't need that die at all, but if you have it, these circles are beautiful. They also have that extra little bit of detail, which I love. I'm using from the Gina K Fancy Phrases, I am using the Happy For You, and I've stamped it on some of that peach Bellini cardstock. I'm just going to take 4 of these images. Now I've actually taken 2 that have the 1mm foam in it, and then I've taken 2 that have the 2mm foam. Just for some different height, a little bit of interest, but by all means, you don't necessarily need that. Now, I'm going to use a piece of 4-inch mint tape just so that I can pick that whole thing up at once. Again, not necessary. I could have done them all individually, but I was happy with the layout that I had. So once I turn this over, pop this down, I mean, I still have time to adjust them because this is still liquid glue, but they were just sort of, tucked into each other, nice and snuggled in tight. And so using the mint tape, the 4-inch mint tape, was really nice and easy. Little tip here, if you've got your foam tape and you're not sure where you want it, but you've got foam tape on, you can add a little bit of liquid glue onto the adhesive, and that makes it a wiggly little piece of foam tape, which is even better. Now, don't throw away that piece of 4-inch wide mint tape that we used before, because we are going to use that again on our next card. Now, I'm going to do a floating frame card in the next one. Now, this is a technique that is often made with the press and seal, using press and seal to get your look here, but of course we are not going to use that today. We're going to use our mint tape, and I'm going to show you how to line it up perfectly. Now, this is obviously made much easier because our images are already done for us. So this is another thing where you can just use the images separately. None of these images are popped up or any dimension. These are completely flat, and they are all stunning images. Now, all I've done here is I've laid these out on top of my 5x5-inch card base. It's a square card base. This is the same piece of mint tape from before. Now, what you want to do is this is going to stick down. So I've arranged all of the florals where I want them to go. Then I cut around my card base. That mint tape has adhered everything to the front temporarily. Cut around my card base so I know exactly where I want everything to go. I'm going to cut a circle out of the center of this, and we're going to cut right through that mint tape. That is one of the beauties of these. So I'm going to run this over to my die cutting machine and get that circle out of the center. Now, this is the fun part where we're going to make this into the floating. If you don't want any dimension, then at this point, flick it over, add on some liquid glue, and then pop it back over, and you are good to go. But I'm going to use my big roll of foam tape. I'm going to pop these up on lots of pieces of foam. I'm just going to make sure I have a little piece of foam behind each one. I'm not going to be too fussy or too fastidious about getting it absolutely perfect. We just want a bit of foam behind each one that's going to allow it to pop it up and give it that floating effect. So once I've got a little bit behind each one, I'm going to pull off the release paper. And again, because this is so easy to line up, even though we can't see, well, you can see through the mint tape a little bit, but you can't see perfectly through it. Quickly do the finger test on each one of the foam tape pieces to make sure I've actually taken the backing off each one of them. And then I will pop this down directly onto my card base. That mint tape is still sitting there. This is the beauty of having a great removable low-tack tape. Now, I have tried many tapes of this, and this is a great one, and I love that it comes in this 4-inch size as well. So go slowly, because lots of these little floral bits are delicate. You know, we don't want to rip anything at this point, but this tape removes beautifully. And again, don't throw this away. We can keep using this. Even if we don't want it in the circle, rip pieces off it. Keep using it. Make sure that you keep getting the most out of your supplies. So there is one little spot there that looks a little bit bald, and I'm just going to take one of the pieces that got cut off and pop this in here, and that will fill in that empty little space. Of course, if you want, you could have cut it down to be ever so slightly smaller than the 5x5, but I like the frame going right to the edge. I'm happy with that. I'm going to use the Fancy Phrases stamp set again, a Sending Hugs card. Again, if you don't want to pop this up on foam tape, have it completely flat, and this card is going to be a completely flat card that can go through the mail beautifully. Of course, you don't have to make it square. You can make it rectangle, regular shaped, anything you like. I popped up my little sentiment in the center. I'm going to pop some little gems all sort of scattered in amongst those flowers just to give it that sparkle or shine. You could also add a little bit of stickles or something to the center of some of the flowers to add that little element of shine. But 3 cards, super easy to create using this decoupage pad. I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and I hope that you have too. So thank you so much for joining me. The links to supplies will be down below, but other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye!